Hello students, welcome to this lecture, lecture number 18 on the sequences and series. We will be discussing two very important tests of this convergence of a series of positive term. Uh, on the convergence of a series of positive terms, we have two very important tests. One is Cauchy integral test and the other is Cauchy's condensation test. So we will start discussing these two tests and then we will do a few exercises based on these two tests. So first of all, we discuss Cauchy's integral test. So what is Cauchy's integral test? Cauchy's integral test says that if x is greater than or equal to 1 and fx is a non-negative and fx is monotonically decreasing integrable function of x, all right, such that f of n is equal to an, that is f of 1 is a1, f of 2 is a2, f of 3 is a3 for all natural numbers n, all right. Then this series summation an is varies from 1 to infinity, and this sequence in converge and diverge together, converge and diverge together. What is in? Where in is the integral of fx from 1 to n dx. This is in, where in is this. So this result is called Cauchy's integral test. This tells us that this series and this sequence converge and diverge together. If this sequence is convergent, then this series is also convergent. If this series is divergent, if this sequence is divergent, then this series is also divergent, and vice versa. Uh, so geometrically, if we see what does it mean, it is like this. That this is suppose 1. So you have a monotonically decreasing function which is non-negative function, and f of 1 is a1 and f of 2 is a2 and f of 3 is a3, f of 4 is a4, and so on like this, right? If f of 4, f of 5 is a5. So this way you have a monotonically decreasing function such that f of 1 is a1, f of 2 is a2, f of 3 is a3. And what is what is in? In is the integral of, for example, I3 is integration from 1 to 3 of fx dx. So it is area under this curve from 1 to 3. Alright, this is I3. I3 is this shaded region. The area under this curve from 1 to 3. So we have to prove that this series and this sequence converge and diverge together. So this is what it is all about, and now we will prove this Cauchy's integral test. So first of all, it is given to us that fx is greater than or equal to 0 for all x greater than or equal to 1. Fx is a non-negative, monotonically increasing. So that means summation fn as n varies from 1 to infinity is a series of non-negative terms, because fx is greater than or equal to 0. So this is a series of all non-negative terms, and f of n is f of 1 is a1, f of 2 is a2. So this series is the series an. So an is a series of non-negative terms. First of all, you know that. Let k be any in positive integer, and let x be any number between k and k plus 1. Let x be any number between k and k plus 1. Then f of k plus 1 is less than or equal to fx is less than or equal to fk, because alright, because f is monotonically decreasing. F is monotonically decreasing, so k less than or equal to x less than or equal to k plus 1 implies that f of k plus 1 is less than or equal to fx is less than or equal to f of k. Alright, so because f is monotonically decreasing, and f of k plus 1 is ak plus 1, and f of k is ak, so we have ak plus 1 is less than equal to fx is less than equal to ak. Now you take integration everywhere from k to k plus 1 in this inequality. You take integration from k to k plus 1 everywhere. So this integral is ak plus 1 is constant, integral from k to k plus 1, integral of 1, and then integral of fx from k to k plus 1, and then ak is constant, and integral of 1 from k to k plus 1. So this integral is just 1. So this you have ak plus 1 here, and you have ak here, and you have integral of fx from k to k plus 1. So if you put k is equal to 1 in this inequality, first of all you put k is equal to 1, then put k is equal to 2, then k is equal to 3, then k is equal to n minus 1. So if you put k is equal to 1 in this inequality, you get a2 is less than integral from 1 to 2 of fx less than or equal to a1 by putting k is equal to 1 in this inequality. Then you put k is equal to 2 in this, you get a3 integral from 2 to 3 is between a3 and a2. Then you put k is equal to n minus 1, you get integral from n minus 1 to n is from an to an plus 1. And then you add all these inequalities. If you add all these inequalities, you get a2 plus a3 plus an is less than or equal to a1 plus a2 plus an minus 1, and you have integrals from 1 to 2 plus integral from 2 to 3 plus integral from n minus 1 to n. So this is integral from 1 to n of fx. Alright, so you have got integral from 1 to n fx dx. And what is a2 plus a3 plus an? This is, if you call sum of first terms as sn, alright, then this is sn minus a1, and this is Sn minus a1, and this would be Sn minus 1, Sn minus 1 minus, this is Sn minus an, yes. This is a1 plus a2 plus a3 plus an minus 1, alright. So this is Sn minus an. So you have Sn minus an here. So we have got that this result, that Sn minus 1, Sn minus a1 is less than or equal to in is less than or equal to Sn. Alright, this Sn minus an is less than or equal to Sn because an is greater than or equal to 0. Since an is greater than or equal to 0, so Sn minus an is less than or equal to Sn. So what we have got is that Sn minus a1 is less than or equal to in is less than or equal to Sn. Alright, for all. This is what we have got. Now we will consider these cases, case 1 and case 2. Case 1 is, suppose in is convergent. Suppose in is convergent. Suppose in is convergent. This implies in converges to some limit. This implies let the limit of in as n tends to infinity be equal to some real number L, where L is a real number. Since it is convergent, so it converges to some number. From this part, you can write that Sn minus a1 is less than or equal to in implies that Sn is less than or equal to a1 plus in. Alright, so you could take limit both sides. So limit of Sn is less than or equal to I1 is equal to a1 plus limit of in. Alright, but limit of in is L, so this is equal to a1 plus L. So we have limit of Sn is less than or equal to a1 plus L, and this is a fixed number. A1 plus L is a fixed number, and that means the sequence Sn is bounded above. The sequence is bounded above because the limit of Sn is less than or equal to this number, so it is bounded above. Also Sn is a sequence of positive terms. Also Sn is a monotonically increasing sequence of positive terms, positive non-negative terms. Alright, Sn is a1 plus a2 plus a3 plus an, and all ans are greater than or equal to 0. So this is Sn is a sequence of positive terms, and since it is a1 plus a2 plus a3 plus an, so it is increasing sequence of positive terms. So if and every increasing sequence of positive terms, if it is bounded above, is convergent. This implies Sn is convergent. Why Sn is convergent? Because every sequence of positive terms which is monotonically increasing and bounded above must be convergent. So Sn is convergent, and Sn is what? Sn is the sequence of partial sums of an. So that means the series an is convergent. So that means the series an is convergent. So we have proved that if the sequence in is convergent, then the series an is also convergent. Then the series an is also convergent. So one way we have proved that if in is convergent, then the series series an is convergent. Now we will prove that if in is divergent. Case 2 is if in is divergent, then the limit of in as n tends to infinity would be infinity. Alright. Now we have from this inequality in is less than or equal to Sn. So in is less than or equal to Sn for all n from here, and that implies Sn is greater than or equal to in for all n. And Sn is greater than or equal to in for all n means limit of Sn is greater than or equal to limit of in, but limit of in is infinity, so limit of Sn is greater than or equal to infinity. And that means the sequence Sn is not bounded above, because the limit of Sn is greater than or equal to infinity means the limit of Sn does not exist. So Sn is not bounded above. Alright. Also Sn is a sequence of positive terms which is monotonically increasing. So if Sn is a sequence of partial sums which is if Sn is a sequence of positive terms which is monotonically increasing, and since it is not bounded above, so it must be divergent. Alright. Any sequence of partial sums which is monotonically increasing but bounded above, and bounded above is convergent, and if it is not bounded above, it is divergent. So Sn is divergent, and Sn is divergent means this series is divergent because Sn is the sequence of partial sums of this series. So we have shown that if in is divergent, if in is divergent, then the series an is also divergent. So we have proved that uh, if in is convergent, then the series is convergent. Alright, we have proved that if this sequence, alright, we have proved that if this sequence is convergent, then this series is convergent, and if this sequence is divergent, then this series is also divergent. This we have proved. The converse part is also easy to see. I would expect you to do it yourself, that if this series is convergent, then this sequence would also be convergent, and if this series is divergent, then this sequence would also be divergent. Just from within the proof, you can prove that also. The converse part you can do yourself. So that was the Cauchy's integral test. We will be uh, doing this Cauchy's integral test. We will do one or two exercises based on this test in the coming up time. Before that, we will discuss another important test, that is Cauchy's condensation test. What is Cauchy's condensation test? Cauchy's condensation test that says that if an is a monotonically decreasing sequence of non-negative terms, okay, an is a monotonically decreasing sequence of non-negative terms, then the series an and this series 2 raised to the power n, a 2 raised to the power n varies from 1 to infinity. Then these two series converge and diverge together. Converge and diverge together. What is meant by saying converge and diverge together? Converge and diverge together means if one is convergent, then if one series is convergent, then the other series is also convergent, and if one series is divergent, then the other series is also divergent. So we will prove this result. How do we prove it? Let Sn be this nth partial sum of this series An. So Sn is equal to A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus An, and let sigma n be the nth partial sum of the other series. Other series is, alright, uh, 2 raised to power n, a raised to power n. So Sn is the sequence of partial sums of the first series, and sigma n is the sequence of partial sums of the second series. 2a2 plus 2 square a2 square plus 2n a2n. Okay, this so Sn is the sequence of partial sums of the first series, and sigma n is the sequence of the partial sum of the second series. And we know that the series is convergent or divergent if and only if its sequence of partial sums is convergent or divergent. So first of all, we consider the first case. Let this series be convergent. Suppose this series is convergent. Then the sequence of its partial sums, which is sigma n, all right, would also be convergent. And since sigma n is a monotonically increasing sequence because it is sum of positive terms, so if since sigma n is a monotonically increasing sequence, so it must be bounded above. All right, it has to be bounded above. Since sigma n is convergent, so it must be bounded above those. All right, sigma n, this series 2 raised to power n, a to n, n varies from 1 to infinity. Suppose this is convergent. Suppose this is convergent. This implies its sequence of partial sums is convergent, and since sigma n is monotonically increasing, so this hence sigma n is must be bounded above. All right. So sigma n must be bounded above. Suppose u is an upper bound for sigma n. Let sigma n be less than or equal to u for all n. For all n. All right. So suppose sigma n is less than or equal to u for all n. Now you consider Sn. Sn is a1 plus a2 plus a3 plus an. This you can write as, suppose n is equal to 2 raised to the power k plus 1. Suppose n is equal to 2 raised to the power k plus 1, then Sn, which is a1 plus a2 plus an, can be written as a1 plus a2 plus a3 plus up to a2 raised to the power k plus 1. Okay, we are supposing that n is equal to 2 raised to the power k plus 1. Just for prove, you will understand why we have taken n is equal to 2 raised to the power k plus 1. So a1 plus a2 plus a3 plus a raised to the power 2k plus 1, this you can write as a1, then next two terms a2 plus a3, then next four terms a1 plus a5 plus a6 plus a7, then next 8 terms, and then you have next these terms a2 2 raised to the power k plus a2 raised to the power k plus 1 plus in the end you have a raised to the power 2k plus 1 minus 1, and then you have the last term a raised to the power a2 raised to the power k plus 1. All right. So this is less than or equal to, since the series an is monotonically decreasing. So a3 is less than or equal to a2. So you can replace by less than or equal to here a1, and a2 plus a3 can be written as a2 plus a3, and because a3 is less than or equal to a2, and all these terms can be replaced by a4, a4 plus a4 plus a4 8 times, and all these terms can be replaced by a2k, a2k plus a2k plus a2k plus a2 raised to the power k plus 1. So this is a1 plus 2a2 plus 2 raised to the power 2 a22 plus these will be 2k terms, uh, 2k a2k plus a2 raised to the power k plus 1. So this would be a1 plus this plus a raised to the power 2k plus 1. All right. And this part is your sigma k. This is sigma k. So a1 plus sigma k plus a2 raised to the power k plus 1. All right. And this is a1 plus sigma k plus a2 raised to power k plus 1 is less than or equal to a1 because this sequence is monotonically decreasing, so you can replace it by a1 here. Alright, so ultimately we have got that Sn is less than or equal to 2a1 plus sigma k, and sigma k is less than or equal to u, so this is Sn is less than or equal to 2a1 plus u. That means Sn is bounded above, and also Sn is monotonically increasing. Since Sn is monotonically increasing and bounded above, so it must be convergent. So Sn is convergent, and Sn is convergent means the series En is convergent, because Sn is the sequence of partial sums of En. So we have proved that the series En is convergent. If this series is convergent, then this series is also convergent. We have proved. Now we will prove about the divergence. If one series diverges, suppose this series is divergent, case 2, suppose this series is divergent, then the sequence of its partial sum sigma n is also divergent. Alright, suppose summation 2 raised to power n a 2 raised to power n varies from 1 to infinity is divergent, then the sequence of its partial sums is also divergent. Alright, and since it is monotonically, since sigma n is monotonically increasing sequence, so this implies divergence means sigma n diverges to plus infinity, because a monotonically increasing sequence either convergent or diverges to plus infinity. If it is divergent, it is divergent to plus infinity. Now you consider s2 raised to power n. S2 raised to power n. This can be written as a1 plus a2 plus a3 plus a2 raised to power n minus 1 plus a raised to power 2n minus 1 plus 1 plus 2 up to a raised to power 2n. And this you can write as the sum of first two terms a1 plus a2, then the sum of next two terms a3 plus a4, then the next term, sum of next four terms a5 plus a6 plus a7 plus a8, then the sum of next 8 terms, and so on. In the end you will write a2n minus 1 plus a2n minus 1 plus 1 up to a2n. So this is since an is monotonically decreasing, so it is greater than or equal to a1 plus a2, and a3 plus a4 can be replaced by a4 plus a4, because a3 is greater than or equal to a4, and a5 is greater than a8, a6 is also greater than a8, a7 is also greater than 8. So you can replace all them by a8, and here you can replace all terms by a raised to 2n. Alright, so this is you have grade a1 plus a2 plus this is 2a4 plus 2 square a8 can be, you can write as 2 raised to 3, and then you have how many terms? 2 raised to n minus 1 terms, a2n. Alright, and what you do is a1 plus, and from these all these terms you take divide by 2 and multiply by 2, 1 by 2, take 1 by 2 common, so it is 2a2 plus 2 square a2 square plus 2 cube a2 cube plus 2n a2n, and this is sigma n. This part is sigma n, so a1 plus half sigma n, so you have s2n is a1 plus half sigma n, but sigma n is bounded above, sigma n is bounded above, because alright, so it follows that s2n is also bounded above. Alright, so s2n is also bounded above, so s2n is bounded above, and s2n is monotonically increasing also sequence also. S2n is monotonically increasing sequence also, so it must be convergent. Alright, uh, sorry, yes, sigma n is unbounded above, I'm sorry, sigma n is, since sigma n is approaching to plus infinity, this implies sigma n is not bounded above. So since sigma n is not bounded above, so s2n is also not bounded above. So s2n is not bounded above. So, and since it is monotonically increasing and it is not bounded above, so this implies s2n must diverge to plus infinity, and s2n diverge to uh, plus infinity. Alright, so that implies Sn also diverges to plus infinity, because if a sequence S2n is just a subsequence, S2n is a subsequence of Sn. If the subsequence diverges to plus infinity, then the sequence also must diverge to plus infinity, because if the sequence is convergent, then every subsequence converges to the same limit. So since Sn S2n is divergent, so Sn would also be divergent, and since Sn is a monotonically increasing sequence of positive terms, so divergent means diverges to plus infinity. So An must be divergent. Alright, so we have proved that if this series is divergent, then this series is also divergent. So we have proved Cauchy's condensation test completely, that this series and this series converge and diverge together, provided the series is monotonically decreasing and it is a series of non-negative terms. So now we will do two very important exercises. One is show that the series 1 over n raised to power p, alright, where p is positive, is convergent if and only if p is greater than 1. Alright, so how do we solve this? We will use the Cauchy integral test. Alright, so what we do is let an जो है an is equal to 1 over n raised to power p, so let fx be equal to 1 over x raised to power p. P is positive. Alright, so fx, you can see that fx is a monotonically decreasing function. Alright, for x greater than or equal to 1, fx is a monotonically decreasing function. Alright, and so we consider the following cases. So we consider f, alright, an is taken as fn. If fx is equal to 1 over x is equal to e, then fn is equal to 1 over n raised to power e. Alright, so fx is monotonically decreasing. This is clear from the definition of the function. If p is positive, then it is monotonically decreasing function, and it is positive function also for all x greater than or equal to 1. Alright, so we have the following cases. Case 1. Case 1 is if p is not equal to 1, alright, p is given to be greater than 0. So we will consider these cases if p is not equal to 1. Alright, if p is not equal to 1, then fx, alright, then in is taken as the integral of fx from 1 to n dx. Alright, in is would be integral from 1 to n of 1 over x raised to power p dx, and this integral would be x raised to power 1 minus p over 1 minus p, and from 1 to n, and this can be written as alright, this let's keep it here only, up to here only. Alright, from 1 to n. Now we consider the subcase 1. Subcase 1, since p is not equal to 1, so either p would be greater than 1 or p would be less than 1. So first of all, we consider the subcase 1, let p be greater than 1. Subcase 1, suppose p is greater than 1. If p is greater than 1, this would imply that p minus 1 is positive. This would imply p minus 1 is positive. So hence in would be equal to, in we have calculated to be this, in would be equal to minus 1 over p minus 1. This was 1 minus p, so you can take out, you can make it p minus 1 and take it out, and then you have x raised to the power this you can write 1 over x raised to power p minus 1, and then from 1 to n. Alright, so this is equal to uh, minus 1 over p minus 1, and then 1 over n raised to power p minus 1 minus, this would be 1, alright, because p is positive. Alright, so if you take the limit as n tends to infinity, so limit of in as n tends to infinity, since p minus 1 is positive, so this limit as n tends to infinity would be 0, alright. So what remains is, this is just 1 over p minus 1. So limit of in is, so that means in is convergent, that means this sequence is convergent, and this sequence is convergent means the series is convergent. This implies 1 over n raised to power p is convergent for p greater than 1. So we have proved that our series is convergent for p greater than 1. Now we consider the subcase when p is less than 1. Subcase 2, if p, alright, 1, 0 and p. If p is less than 1, this would imply that 1 minus p is positive, right? P minus 1 would be negative, means 1 minus p is positive. So our in that we calculated on the previous page, this is in, alright, x raised to the power 1 minus p over uh, 1 minus p 1 to n, 1 minus p 1 to n, in is equal to this, alright. So this would be equal to 1 over 1 minus p, n raised to power 1 minus p minus minus 1, okay, 1 minus p is positive. So if you take the limit as n tends to infinity, this implies limit of in as n tends to infinity. This would be, since 1 minus p is positive, so this limit would be infinity, so this limit is infinity. Alright, this will tend to this n, or n raised to the power of something positive will go to infinity, alright, plus infinity as n tends to infinity. So this limit would be infinity. That means uh, the sequence in is divergent, and that implies by Cauchy integral test this our series is also divergent for p less than 1. And now remains the case 2 when p is equal to 1. So we were considering the main case when p is not equal to 1. So now we will consider the case when p is equal to 1. So if p is equal to 1, then our in, alright, then our fx would be just 1 over 1 over x only, alright, because fx was x raised to power p, but p is 1, so fx is equal to this, and that implies in would be integral from 1 to n of 1 over x dx, and that is just uh, log n minus, alright, log 1, that is log n only, and this implies the limit of in as n tends to infinity. Log n goes to infinity as n tends to infinity, so this is infinity, and that means in is divergent, and in is divergent means the series is also divergent. This implies 1 over n for p is divergent for p equal to 1. So series is divergent for p equal to 1. Alright, so we have got that this series 1 over n raised to power p is divergent for p less than 1 or equal to 1, and convergent for p greater than 1. This is what we have proved, okay, using Cauchy integral test. So using Cauchy integral test, we have proved that our series, this series is convergent if and only if p is greater than 1. Otherwise, it is divergent. Right? Uh, so using Cauchy's integral test. So that is all. This in this we have we wanted to do an exercise on Cauchy condensation test also. So that I will include in the next lecture. Uh, Thank you very much. We will continue learning in the next lecture. Thank you.